Hi, this is Michael of the Metaphysical Journey, and these are my thoughts on a Sunday for May the 12th, 2024. My thoughts today automatically go to my mom, because this is Mother's Day, celebrated in many parts of the world today. Other places celebrated in March, but in one way or another, we always have some way that we celebrate or commemorate the people in our lives that served in the motherly role, however that played out for you. As you think about your mom, remove the label of mom for today. Remove that label and think about them in a different way. They were a person. Because when we have the label of mom, there's certain expectations that we think they should have. But with that label gone, they're just another person. It's like the label of friend. Are you the most perfect friend? Are you the most perfect employee? Are you the most perfect partner? And any type of other label you can place on yourself. Are you the most perfect at doing that? No, I'm sure you're not. We all have faults. We have good and we have bad. The same thing in the parental roles as well. They're not perfect. They're not on a pedestal. They're ordinary people like us trying to do the best they can in the situation in which they're placed. And they're going to hit the mark and they're going to miss the mark. I was very fortunate to have a loving, caring mom. She was amazing. And my brother and I served as little karmic reminders to her on a regular basis of how in her past she must have messed up, because we're there to repay it. But still, she loved us. Not everyone, though, has that same situation or memories of the person in their life that served in the role of a mom. There are many that have spent years in therapy or probably still there, just trying to come to terms with what happened. Why did I go through that? How could another human being do that to a child? There are many different scenarios, and we'll never know the answers to those. Well, you can't shape the past. What you can do is change your future. And this is a day to remember those things, the good things, but also pay attention to the bad things. Because those bad moments, those bad experiences, those many bad years that you went through actually served a very important purpose. They shaped you into the person you are today. Very possible that the motherly figure was treated the same way growing up that they treated you, because these are patterns that we tend to repeat. We treat people the way that we've been treated, and eventually a cycle has to end. And it's quite possible that today you can come face to face with seeing what that cycle is, and also realizing how you've ended that. If you had a mom that was just hideous, you know what those hideous things are. You have them all in your minds. You have a checklist. Those are the things that you go to therapy for. Those are the things that you do different types of healing for, to remove those, to move beyond those. And you have moved beyond those. In most cases, the most horrible things done to you are the things that you've said, I will never do that to another person. It stops with me. It's over. That's a beautiful gift that you were given. It's quite possible that you had to go through all of that to get to where you are today, because there's someone in your life now that you are serving in that role of a mentor, a guide, a nurturer, someone that's helping to grow and shape them to become a different person. Because as they get older and they move forward in life, there are things they're going to have to do. And in order to do what they need to do, they have to have to learn certain traits and habits and things. And they learn that from you. And they only learn that from you because you didn't learn that growing up. And you've had to adapt and change and mold that for yourself as a result of the experience that you had growing up. So nothing happens by chance. We are not victims. We may have been victims in a situation that we had no control over, but we don't have to remain victims. You can take all the negative things that happen to you, and you can make the conscious decision, as probably you already have, to say, I'm going to walk forward from this as a better person. So that is one thing that you can actually today have gratitude for that person in your life that was not the best mom, or they didn't serve that role as responsibly as you think they should have. And they probably were doing the best they could do. That's all they knew, because that's the example they were given growing up. And it probably goes back a long, long time. So Mother's Day is a day for celebration of your mom, being with them, spending time with them, and thanking them for what they've done, and having conversations about the things that they didn't quite hit the mark. You know, those conversations, they can be very healing and a lot of fun too, just to hammer people for the things that they did, those funny moments, because we tend to look at them that way sometimes. But if your mom is no longer living, it's also a time for mental commemoration, remembering who they were, the lessons that they taught you, the good and the bad. Also, too, if the situation with the mom, whether alive or no longer with us, was so painful, so traumatic that you say, I never want to speak to that person again for as long as I live, it's okay. You don't have to call them. But today can be a day of liberation for you. And liberation begins when you first acknowledge and see how you were captive, kept captive by them. And when you look at that period of captivity with them, look at the good things that happened to you, the most negative things, look at that in a different way. Spin that and say, all right, because of that horrible thing, I changed. And I said, never again am I going to allow that to happen to me. You became stronger. You stood up on your own, and you move forward in life as an independent person because you've been freed from the captivity of that horrible thing. And as a free person walking forward, you now have become, instead of the villain that maybe your mom was, or the person in that role, you are now a hero. You're a survivor, and you're moving forward and bringing the positive forward. And that's what you're putting out into the world. That's a beautiful gift that you were given. You would never have been given that had you not first experienced that period of captivity. In order to be free, you have to be free from something. You can't be bound or in bondage in some way. What are you free from? And these are the lessons we can learn on a Mother's Day, of those things that were just, awful. But they no longer shape your life. Your life has already been shaped as a result of it. What you're doing now as this newly formed person is you're moving forward into the world, and you're making sure that others in the future never have to deal with that, because you've changed that into something beautiful. You took something bad and turned it into something positive. And it's because of your mom that you did that. You could never have done it without that assistance, whether it was good or it was awful. It did shape you, it molded you. So give some credit there where credit is due. We learn from the good people around us. They make us want to be better people, but we learn the most from the horrible people around us, because that makes us strong and determined. And that's a beautiful gift that we get from those that came before us. Something to think about. Anyway, I hope that you have a beautiful Mother's Day. I hope you have a great Sunday. Thank you for following me on the metaphysical journey, and go forth, do good things, change lives for the better. Bye.